Sponsored by upshiftstore.co.uk and Hambridge Transport Limited. This is the second of 3 races from Barcelona. No chicane on this track with the League 2 guys. Good first race, really enjoyed that first one. Hopefully the second race will be just as good. So let's get to the grid for this one. We've got Moz on pole position, Inti takes second, Fitzy takes third, Chris takes 4th position on the grid, Seabroad 5th, Tony in 6th, Dan Bailey in 7th place, Molson takes 8th, K3 in 9th, Serial Car Killer in 10th, Sam's Ginger in 11th, Firepower takes 12th, 13th to Benzo, Shameless Cash in 14th, and Potsy in 15th place. Let's get the second one underway. Hopefully it'll be as good as the first race. Off the line we go. Oh, great start by everybody. Was still hanging on to that first position just. Oh, we've got about what? 3, 4, 5 cars fighting out for this first corner. Oh, are they going to get through there nice and clean? Hopefully they do. Moz hangs on to that first place, followed by Seabroad in second. Great second place there for Seabroad. Also known as, we know this guy is quick. Oh, Incy just went onto the brown stuff just a little bit. Looks like Incy's going to take that 3rd spot from him, so Incy moves up into 3rd spot now. Moz still your race leader. Chris, Fitzy, K3, Tony and Dan Bailey is your top 8 guys for this second race. Looking good for Moz at the moment, but he's got Seabroad breathing down his neck, not too far behind him. Incy also in the mix. Good drive through that corner through from Incy. Going to get into the draft now of Seabroad. Oh, I thought he could have taken a look down the inside, not quite there this time for Incy to take Seabroad. Hangs into that 3rd spot. We've got Chris in 4th, who had a good first race from Barcelona. There's Chris in 4th. I've got a little bit of a gap down to Fitzy in 5th. K3, Tony, Dan Bailey, good 8th spot there for Dan Bailey. Dan Bailey showing his teammate Firepower how it's done at the front end of the grid. Tony looks like he's going to go down the, let's get with Tony, he's going down the inside of K3. He's got the line. Has he got it on the brakes? Oh, really close between them 2 guys. Great little scrap. Oh, how did K3 hang into that one? I'm not sure. But Tony's fighting back, and he's going to take him. Oh, K3 goes a little bit on the wide there. K3 hangs back there. Tony takes that 6th position. Dan Bailey moves up into 7th spot now. League 2 guys. Barcelona, second race of 3. Really on it from the off. So this is round 3 of 8, obviously not quite halfway through the championship just yet. Dan Bailey makes a move on, Tony goes down the inside of him. He's going to have the line, is Dan Bailey, and he takes him. Oh, great pass there from Dan Bailey, but Tony's fighting back. Yeah, Dan Bailey hangs on to that 6th place, so good pass there from Dan Bailey to take that 6th place off Tony. Tony's not giving up the ghost just yet though, he's sticking with him. It's a great little scrap between them 2, and oh, Sam's Ginger goes down the inside of Tony. Little bit of touch between them 2 guys, but no biggie. So Tony moves up into, where is he? He's in 9th place now. He's got Molson breathing down his neck in that 10th spot, going that round that right hander. Oh dear me, oh dear. Not quite sure what happened there, guys, but Tony went onto the green stuff. Not sure if he got touched by another car or not, but oh, he goes down to 15th. So lucky there for Tony. Might have been a bit of a touch between a few of the guys, I'm not quite sure. I'll leave that one for the stewards, that's not my responsibility. So Moz is your race leader, and what a lead he's got in this second race, and the fastest guy on the track at the moment, the 1 minute 47.507. So Moz really on it in the second race from Barcelona. There's Incy in second place, then C Broad is not too far behind really Vinci, then he's under pressure from Chris in that fourth position. So the top four having a little bit of a scrap now. We've got a wee gap down to Fitzy in fifth, and we've got Dan Bailey having a good race there in sixth place. No major pressure on Dan Bailey at the moment. Then we've got Sam's Ginger 7th, K3 8th. Let's find a major battle for you guys. Who's the closest ones on the track at the moment? Everyone seems pretty much spread out as we go down the field. There's kind of penalty, or half a second penalty there, no biggie for Cyril Calcula, as he's trying to do his little best to chase down Benzo. Wilson now goes down the inside of Cyril Calcula and he takes him, so Molson now will make it stick. Oh, a bit of a twitch from Cyril Calcula there, but let's get let's get this right, guys. This is what happens when you drink too much vodka. It's not good for you. Stick to water, guys. Molson moves up into 12th place now. Cyril Calcula in 13th spot. He's followed by FirePower in 14th. 15th place, not too far behind him. Tony, looks like Tony's going to make a move on FirePower down this start finish straight, and he does. No problem whatsoever for Tony to take FirePower, to take that 14th position. FirePower moves down into 15th spot now. Let's go back at the leaders once more as FirePower brings up the rear. Moz just saw the second place guy in to go around that corner at the back there, so Moz has got a great lead barring any mistakes. Looks like Moz is going to take the win in this second race. Early days, 6 minutes and 30 seconds gone. There's Incy, you could just see him in the background there going around that corner. Chris is not too far behind him. He's got C Broad hard on the tails now of Chris. Going to stay with these two guys, Chris and C Broad. See if C Broad can make a manoeuvre on Chris. Fitzy in there in 5th place, and a good 6th position there for Dan Bailey, not all that far behind. So apart from Moz, who seems to be flying away at the moment in the second race from Barcelona, the other guys are seem pretty tucked up. Seabroad's not going to be close enough yet to Chris to make a manoeuvre on him, so but he's sticking with him. Just watch these two guys till the end of the straight. See if Seabroad can get a bit later on the brakes and get a little bit closer to Chris. Just see Fitzy there, good 5th position for him. No, not quite close enough yet is Seabroad. Sticking with him, there's Fitzy. No pressure on Fitzy at the moment. Sam's Ginger going to take Dan Bailey down the inside. Still knocking it between these two guys. Dan Bailey's carrying that wee small penalty. Still fighting it out. Oh, great little scrap there between them two guys, 6th and 7th. Sam's Ginger and Dan Bailey. Good stuff. I think Dan will be cursing his wee small penalty he's carrying there as he's chasing down Sam's Ginger, but sticking with him for the time being. Not too far behind him is KT, then Shameless Cash in that 9th position. 8 minutes and 21 seconds gone. Fastest guy on the track is your race leader, Moz, 147.507. Oh, he's right at the chuffer, is Dan Bailey. Well, he's really sniffing him, but I bet he's casing that penalty he's got, which he'll have to get rid of pretty soon, round about now. Hopefully Dan Bailey won't lose another place going through that penalty section. which he doesn't, and hangs on to that 7th place, but K3's got a little bit closer to him as Dan Bailey gets rid of that penalty. Good little scrap here. Well, we've got 4 or 5 cars going in this mid-pack fighting it out. Let's go back just a little bit more to K3. Who's chasing down K3, Seamus Cash and Molson in 10th place. Nice long straight down here, down Barcelona, going through the gears. Are we going to hit 6th gear? And we do, as before we hit the bottom 140 mile an hour plus, then smash them brakes on round this right-hander. K3 just hangs on to the 8th spot. Seamus Cash 9th. Molson 10th. There's Molson. Now we've got a little bit of a gap to Benzo. Half a second penalty for Benzo. Cyril Carkle and Tony fighting it out here. Tony just sticking with Cyril Carkle for the time being. Don't think it's going to be long before he makes an attempted manoeuvre on him. No, not going to be quite close enough yet. Tony in 13th, he's after Cyril Carkiller. Then we've got Potsy in 14th and Firepower bringing up the rear. Not been a good championship for Firepower so far in his first 3 rounds. Hopefully he'll get a little better as the championship progresses. And again, pigs might fly. So, Moss over the finish line, come to the 11th minute mark, carrying half a second penalty. Ain't going to be worried about that at the moment because he's got quite a big gap between himself and Incy in 2nd. Chris in 3rd. Seabroad 4th. Fitzy, now here we go. Dan Bailey. We've got Sam Ginger chasing him down, and he really is chasing him down as well. Goes down the inside of Dan Bailey. K3 had a little battle behind also. Sam Ginger just hanging on to that 6th position just from Dan Bailey. Shall we go on board with Dan Bailey? Yeah, let's go on board with Dan Bailey for a few moments. Let's see if we can get Sam Ginger a bit later on the brakes round that. This right-hander, Dan Bailey wants to get a good drive through this corner, but he's right on him. He's going to be on top of him very shortly if he gets any closer to him. Love these in-car shots, gives you a real bird's eye view of what the drivers are seeing and what they're feeling. Dan Bailey looks like he's got a better drive through that corner, and he's going to take shameless Sam Ginger, and he does. He's going to make it stick through this next. Oh, goes a little bit wide is Dan Bailey. Oh, looky there, Dan Bailey, and Sam Ginger hangs back onto that 6th spot. Dan Bailey in 7th place, followed by Molson, not too far behind there in. We were both going to go on board with Molson there, but we'll stick with this few just for now. Oh, it's going to be a right good scrap to the end between Molson, Dan Bailey, Molson, K3. Benzo not too far behind in 10th. Molson pulls out, going to go for the inside before this left-hander. Has he got him? Oh, neck and neck still between these two guys. Oh, cracking racing, cracking stuff. Nice and clean also. So Dan Bailey, I'm sure he must be sweating a bit with Molson tucked up behind him, but Molson also must be sweating because he's got K3 hard on the heels. Half a second penalty for K3. Let's look down the inside of Molson. He doesn't quite make it stick this time, and Molson hangs on to that 8th spot. K3. Then we've got Turney in 10th and Benzer in 11th place. Molson goes down the outside of Turney. Does it take him? Molson moves up into 9th spot now. Great pass there from Molson. Nice and clean, but oh, it didn't half look good. Molson now, he's after, boy, he takes him to K3. Molson now up into 8th spot. Back up your leaders, guys, as we come to the closing stage of this first race. Moz, he's on his final lap, is Moz. Ince's on his final lap. So is Chris, your top threes, and Seabroad and Fitzy. So the top 5 are going to have another lap. Sam's Ginger, 6th spot. Is he going to have another lap? I don't think he's quite going to make it. I think he's going to finish in 6th. So, oh, has he? Oh, he's gone through. So has Dan. So Molson finishes in 8th spot, followed by K3 in 9th, Benzer in 10th, Tony in 11th, Sue Calculate in 12th, Seamus Cash in 13th, FirePower takes 14th, or does he? He's got that wee small penalty. 14th for FirePower and 15th for Potsy. So them guys are finished. So back up with your leader, Moz. Just the top 7 guys in this race now to finish. Is Moz going to take this one as well? I'm sure he is. Around these last corners, keep it on track, and he does. And there we go, congratulations once more to Moz to take the victory in the second race from Barcelona. Well done to him. Ince, good second place there for Ince on the podium. Same goes for Chris on the podium in that third spot. Seabroad's going to take 4th just from Fitzy. He's going to finish in 5th place. 6th place, surely he's going to go to Dan Bailey. Good 6th place there for Dan Bailey. If he can make it stick, which I'm sure he will do. Sam's Ginger not too far behind him in 7th, so Dan Bailey brings it home in 6th. Well done to him. And 7th goes to Sam Ginger. Cracking second race, guys. Let's hope the third and final race, which will be coming up shortly, will be just as good.